would kick off the proceedings here in our first map of the series, and ultimately it would fall the way of FaZe. 16-11 up as we head into map number 2. And as always, I've got my wonderful analyst, Maniac and Maui, joining me to break all this goodness down. Maniac, FaZe take their map pick, but I think it's fair to say that Godsent were given a little bit more room to move than we may have expected.
I cannot help having the feeling that, FaZe allowed Godsent to dream about this first map. But at the end of the day, they were one step ahead. There were a couple of over-rotations on the CT side, a couple of gambles that I cannot really explain. But when it came down to the fight on the bomb sides, FaZe were so solid. We saw a couple of these highlights rolling down. Rain on the A bomb side, absolutely pristine. Kirby, when challenged on the B bomb side with the AUG or the M4, was good for 2 or 3. So I'm a little bit confused. On one hand, yes, FaZe looks superior individually, positionally. But on the other, they were a little bit sloppy here and there.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point to bring up, Maui. You were chatting about it before we were heading into this game. You were saying you had some questions about the FaZe's B holds on the CT side. And it seemed like we saw a case of FaZe kind of over-rotating from this bomb site. Why do you think that was, and what issue did that cause?
Yeah, that was a little interesting. I couldn't give you a reason as to exactly why FaZe were rotating off that B bomb site so liberally. Maybe they really trust the retake procedures, but it felt like Kirby in transit was caught off at least once there as he was trying to recover the site from this from Godsent there. But like Maniac said, when he's on that bomb site, he did an excellent job. Him and coldzera actually really came up big, and Kirby by the end of that game actually had the highest ADR on the FaZe side. So really, once they started challenging him and he was in position, it was lights out for Godsent.
Yeah, I know a player that you picked up before coming into this whole series. It was Madden, Maui. So how are we looking for him going into the map pick of Godsent, which will be Nuke?
Yeah, so Madden, on CT side, he plays a lot of the rotator spots for Godsent, so that means he's going to be around that mini position, sometimes going down the vents to try to defend lower, but he's actually, in terms of rating, the second worst player for Godsent, so it's a little bit worrying because usually Stiko and Farlig are carrying a lot of the weight for Nuke in particular for Godsent. Stiko on the ramp position, Farlig, of course, the opper. So it's going to be up to them to really try to slow down FaZe to try to prevent the 2-0.
Yeah, and I think an interesting talking point with Nuke, Maniac, is that we obviously saw FaZe losing out to Saw on this very map yesterday. Sure, we don't know FaZe to be a phenomenal Nuke team, but should there be any particular improvements coming into this one from their side? Is there anything you're particularly focusing on in on them to do?
I think the defense is going to be our main focus right here. Obviously, FaZe should elect to start on the defense. It was against their opponent's map pick here. Against Saw, they had a couple of issues closing down the map, and there is one player in particular that I'm going to look forward. It's Nico. Outside, I feel like he has just too much on his own shoulders. You'll see most teams having, team setup, flash points coming in from one or the other to help the yard player, but Nico is pretty much on his lonesome. So sometimes when he's having a great game, he's going to take so much space on himself that the rest of the map is firmly under control, obviously, but I feel like they live and die by his performance. If he's getting outplayed, if he's getting out-aimed, then suddenly the whole FaZe defense is completely out of balance, and you'll see Godsent abusing the yard position. So I'm looking at Nico, but not only him. I want to see a team effort coming in together and controlling that yard part of the map.
Well, of course, we've been focusing on all the action from the A stream here at the moment. But of course, there is another match going on over on the B stream, and it's NIP versus Sprout. Of course, we saw Sprout stealing their own map pick of Nuke. That was 16-6. Now it's NIP's turn. This is on Mirage currently. They're only 10-8 up, though, Maniac. I'm wondering what you're thinking of this.
I'm not feeling too comfortable. I might have overestimated NIP or underestimated Sprout. You never know. Sprout making waves. I think they finally broke into the top 20 of the HLTV ranking recently. They're making some waves. Their addition of Snatchy is working out quite well for them. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do. But I might be underselling them just a little bit.
Well, we've at least got one more map coming up here on the A stream of things. It's going to be Nuke, and it's coming up after this.
Whoa, Frankie in the chat room. I know we've been talking about how hot Nico's been, but Don't go telling me about his shirtless Instagram. I can't focus on the match like that. I've got a man next to me, though, who I'm sure will be doing a lot of focusing. Michael, Yumi, Cassidy. And we've just seen FaZe taking away map number 1. Map number 2, Nuke, is going to be coming up soon. Yumi, what have you got going on in your head about that?
Yeah, a little bit worrying, I think, for Godsent, because I think they've come into this with a confidence that we know that we've spoken to Mada in the past about how confident they are in Nuke, in spite of us being, I think, a little bit critical of how they play it. You know, they're a little bit looser in our style. We highlighted that Mirage as well. And I mean, sure, FaZe did lose Nuke against Thor, but that's with Stododo playing pretty much out of his mind on both sides of the coin to get that done. It went from Stododo to StatDodo very quickly. So I don't know whether we're going to get that same level of a step up from Godsent, because that always feels like the missing piece for them. Sure, they get some good performances from Mad and consistency from Zen. You know, Stiko has some pop-off games, but you never get all of them chiming in together, and it's never directly on specific maps either that they can rely on in any capacity. So I do worry that this could turn into a 2-0.
And I think a lot of this will come down to, as FaZe will be starting on the CT side, what Stiko can do on the T side. Because very often, even against Saul, we actually saw him being figured out just a little bit too much. He loves to play outside of squeaky doors. He gets spammed sometimes, he gets pushed, he gets naded, and he moves back to ramp, and it's a bit more predictable. So I'm hoping that he can find success in that, because very, very often he's the man you have a focus on. coldzera, though, has backed off very early on, back down to lower. He has the kit, and he's waiting for information, but Rain is waiting to see if they're coming down to hell. 1.5 minutes on the clock, and there are 2 players over in lower. Nico and Cold, the deadliest of all duos. But Rain, he's actually maybe missed the timing window, and Stiko's not missing shots. Comes through, upgrades his firepower as well, and now it all comes back to Godsent, and whatever they want to do is all up to them. 1 minute and 10 left, and now the CTs will have to go for information. You can already see coldzera perhaps angling for a secret peek, and he will go for it, but now it should be a late round lower hit for Godsent.
Yeah, the problem is they have no utility, so they have to just take these fights, deal with Nico quickly. They come out back swinging, so Nico cannot line up the headshot easily, but he still finds one. Zen taken out of the round, door shut, door opened. It's a back and forth, and Madden eventually eliminates that troublesome decon position. Still, a Madden advantage, and a huge one at that for Godsent that Cold is trying to bring back. 3 players do go for the peak, and Gold only able to get 1 more frag. Godsent, that slower approach, that shutdown towards ramp, and just the slow grind as they take Rain and the lower site works wonders.
Can I just say, Cold has like the best camera and lighting from all of the players we've seen so far. It's just so
closer to his monitor,
face.
so the more natural light for the game.
It's true. Well, you say natural when it's anything but. But
True.
What is natural is a force buy from FaZe Clan. They love to go for it, and there's a reason for it, and the reason is Nico. And well, that reason is no longer on the server, as Martin is apparently an unreasonable fellow.
You just had to hype him up. You just had to put that in his mind.
I'm happy I got to use a reason and unreasonable.
Healed off quickly, even with all the build-up. Oh, Brokey does find one. Oh, okay. A second on the cross because it's deeper smokes for Godsent. They cannot cross safely to secret, and Brokey's got 3. We saw a scout ace in the group stage from Big instead, and Brokey's really close to pulling one himself. Stiko, all that's left, and Brokey could have just shut this round out for Godsent. Still ringing off shots. He has a deep sight line with the scout as well, and Stiko, this is a tough one to navigate.
And he has found a nice angle for himself. But Brokey, the question is he going to be peeking outwards? Stiko is creeping up, and Brokey is aware that someone can come down to hell at this point. Brokey, however, not sure of his perspective exactly, but he will not see Stiko coming through. Stiko's found the timing window, but there's also a player in secret, so Stiko has to be so careful. Brokey's turned around, and Brokey's down. Stiko left alone, 1 versus 1, needs to recover the bomb, and he should be aware that coldzera can be around that corner, but with 25 seconds left, he has to barrel on. coldzera is in a perfect position, not expected from the off angle at all, and that is a round on the board for FaZe Clan. Brokey makes the cake, bakes it, pops it in the oven, but coldzera is the one to pull it out and put the cherry on top.
But just now seeing it from his perspective for all the kills, they're not even really clearing for it.
Yep.
They just have their head down,
reacting.
staring at secret.
Yeah, man, it's just, it's one of the few angles where you can be brought down from if you go for the slightly deeper smokes, and that's just how it goes, I suppose.
It's certainly a way to bounce back if you're FaZe. Get themselves onto the rifles, force Godsent into pistols. Not going to have any scout proficiency on that side of the coin.
Kirby's position is so important. We saw Crystal on this exact angle, making it work before as well. Godsent looking to maybe pop through with a Tech 9, just make it a fast hut play. Kirby waiting with the MP9. Lots of head armors will make it slightly more tricky, but Kirby's ready for the rotational axis and the aim that goes with it. Now some shots being fired. Kirby can't follow through. Falling will be the only death so far to his name, and Modern Crystal will respond. Modern with another beautiful deagle shot leaves Gold and Nico alone, and Nico's good for one, but that's not good for enough. Gold now pushes through, tries to find them out while he's hoping that they're setting up for a bomb plant, but instead Nico will just connect, and where Godsent lose out one, they say we're more than happy to punch right back. This is an infighting match if I've ever seen one.
I'm starting to feel like one of those mad conspiracy theorists around the Godsent players, because seriously, the pistols are exceptionally dangerous in their hands. A bursting play that, sure, it comes down to FaZe not having players that can double peak angles, help support, and alleviate that initial pressure, but Godsent just always falls out of control far too quickly for teams to react accordingly.
I think the problem is that someone told Godsent that, hey, the pistol round's actually the most impactful round there is in the game because you can win 3 rounds off of it. And you're like, well, why don't we just always practice for pistols? Cold, though. Cold, though, can't quite land that shot. He's been practicing for rifles, you know it. Cold really likes this angle next to the lower ramp, but with 3 players down towards B, Godsent are fine with coming back, but do they realize Kirby's around the corner, holding an off angle, but he's off with his aim as well. Can't get the initial headshot, and with that, the aim punch is too much. Modern clears him out and brings him down. Still a 4 versus 4, yes, but Nico's the only one even remotely close by. Rain inside the vent, not much of a threat. Although he does want to maybe pop out and go through soon enough. They've all moved past him. They're not checking this angle. Nico's found the one. Rain is right in front of Zen, but because of the ladder inaccuracy, he can't fire yet. In a 3 versus 4, Nico just wants to find one more head, and that's when they'll start to rush in onto this site. But the CTs, they're also far away, and they can't find anything. Crystal, underneath heaven, finds the first, and with Zen getting another, what looked to be a doable round might just be undone there and now. Cold with a kill is nice and all, but Godsent up to 3. And in another game, Ninjas in Pajamas, despite Sprout having a momentary comeback, have secured themselves 16, and that'll be going to the 3rd game.
Well, I was about to say, you know, if you weren't tired of Mirage already, you could have headed over. But, I mean, that one's done now, too, so
stick around.
Yeah, I mean, you don't go anywhere, right? FaZe not able to answer back on their own pistol force buy.
Ooh. Always get worried whenever I see a spam going through anywhere, honestly. Not even just here. Oh, and that's why I'm worried. That is a reason for concern, admittedly.
I'll join you in your concern.
And united in anxiety. That's what we are whenever we see a spray. And Kirby, well, of course he's just on a USB. Not the biggest of deals, but even so. Now, Godsent being up 4-1 on the terrorist side to start things off is incredibly daunting when you consider... Yeah, Rain's probably cursing out Kirby at this point.
Like, what are you holding? I thought you were supposed to be making sure that didn't happen to me, but now it just dialed this line for no reason. Kirby tries to go up the ladder, make up for lost time, but he's lost all his teammates instead. Ooh, good damage there from Nico, but no frag. Godsent, 4 players up, 4 rounds on the board.
And the interesting thing over here is that Brokey is one of the most impactful players in the CT side for FaZe, but that's not true at all on the T side. He's still good, he's still okay, but he's not the incredibly high impact opper who's got quite a bit of mobility as well. So you need to see him getting a lot of action out and a lot of efficacy out over here, because Rain's having a bad game. He's already 0 for 5, and Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay.
So he
fair
actually
enough.
picked it up off of Cole's patents. Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
the Cole dropped it for him. That's nice. Okay, fair enough. I mean, for the longest time, I was thinking the SG. I thought the Krieg. What? How did that? And then I realized it's 2 S's. My bad. My bad. But yes, to those of you guys who are wondering, the SSG is the Scout. But of course, FaZe Clan now will be able to pull out the op of Brokey, and I'm excited to see how he uses it.
See Godsent already posturing up towards lobby. Of course, they still have Crystal on the SMG, so potential to break some pace here. Rain gonna spot them initially going through the smoke. They're diving deep into the vent. A run and gun headshot on Martin, so that's a lot of damage accomplished, but it's a 1-for-1 exchange, and they're making pretty quick work of this lower site. Cole trying to move into an elevated position to stop them.
This is an excellent place for Cole to be, but is this where Godsent will be? As the A site looks like a tantalizing prospect, but one that they cannot quite get their mouth around yet. Stiko trapped inside vents with the bomb. So they have to clear out some positions, but Rain's found his first, and Kirby's been betrayed. Farley keeps going, but Rain's got 2, and 2's all he'll find. And Molotov will secure Stiko safe passage forward towards the bomb site itself, and Martin really needs a better position for himself. Only 11 HP, and Broken Cold Zera will try and make this happen. Cold is coming in from behind, and he's found Stiko. Martin left alone, 1 versus 2. No HP for him at all, and he has to expect this player coming in from his left side. Cold Zera, however, goes directly to Hunt. Martin takes the first duel, and Brokey through the wall will take him down. 11 HP or not, that's a headshot from an op.
Yeah, even if he just clipped him through the box, it would have been enough to take him down. So the margin of error is still high, but a good reaction shot there from Brokey, and it's all activated by the flank by Cold. It does get a little bit dicey, though. I mean, the prospect of having a player towards that lower site and then them pinching back towards A. Like you said, it was a tantalizing prospect, one that they did explore, but were unable to close out. We'll see if that efficacy from the AWP comes through. They were able to dodge Brokey for most of the round outside of the clutch. Like you said, he's going to have the most impact CT side. 1v1, 1 for Crystal outside, though. He spots a glimpse of Nico, and that's enough.
Nico has been tagged up pretty heavily and doesn't really feel comfortable throwing out that Molotov, and I wouldn't either if I was him. And all these players creeping past, Brokey does think he has a gap in the smoke, but are they going to jump? Oh, yes, they are. Brokey doesn't quite get the information. By the way, Mr. Replay, if we can get that without the X-ray on, I'd love to see exactly what he saw. But over here, Cole Zera, he's still on this side, so it's all about how much Stiko can sell this over towards B. We've seen them many times over going to the B bomb site and turning back, but now Brokey's brought down as well. Somehow, Farlig finds him. Crystal jumps forward, but Farlig's behind the double doors. And with the opening there, he can actually cover Crystal incredibly well. That's such a nice angle to be holding.
Yeah, and you'd understand the decision to save here for FaZe. Kirby 1 on the exit, but that's about it. I did get worried seeing Cold going instead, crossing the door. Thought that Godsent were going to open that as he was attempting the cross, but he gets into the position he was hoping for to set up a crossfire. Just gets broken apart instantly.
Yeah. Really well played. And this was something we actually saw from Saw yesterday against FaZe Clan on lower as well. A lot of the positions that FaZe Clan likes to hold are somewhat premeditated. I wouldn't say to a large extent, but they have their favorite spots. And then there are certain crossfires that Saul was going for in particular that completely dismantled that lower bomb site hold. And I mean, we're seeing something similar from them over here as well. Now, Crystal, what a shot right there. He actually saw Nico early on, and what a kill from Crystal.
It's a jumping kill.
Listen, sometimes it happens, and if it's going to happen to anyone, it better be Cold Zera, damn it. It's called karma.
I was wondering how that broke down so rapidly, but that's one way to do it, I suppose. Well, they just came out swinging. They did that and more.
Well, they've got to do more over here. Kirby has found one in the meanwhile. That's an important kill to find. And are they going to expect the secondary player behind bait box? Yes, they are. Molotov is there. coldzera has been burned, and he is no longer cold.
Lukewarm at ramp. Brokey is on the side, has a teammate drawing attention away. Of course, the USP not the best weapon to have in this position, but he could still find some nice little lineups. Crystal jumping around like he did last round, throwing his body at the problem. And Godsent take the site once more. Rain having that rifle in his hands means that the round is over and done with. Self-preservation has to be the objective, and the money is starting to build, really, for Godsent. The T side, 6 rounds, already a good scoreline to have moving into the half, but there's so much more potential for Godsent to get even more.
It is sort of crazy that Rain actually has 79 ADR, even though he only has 2 kills.
Yeah, he's on 4 assists, so...
Yeah. It's been maybe the helping hand more often than the one that delivers the violence. Godsent will find themselves a 6, and over here, FaZe will not have a very fantastic buy. No AWP can be pulled out for Brokey unless you want Kirby dropping that, and that's a dangerous world to start getting into. And you've got low utility on 2 players. I don't know if you want to see that. Now, what's going on over here for FaZe is really what is on everyone's mind, but so many times over, it just seems like Godsent is putting themselves into positions where FaZe is not ready to rotate. And a lot of that comes down to how they were faking over towards the lower bomb side earlier on as well. And I'd love to see Nico maybe go for a secret play. He tends to do this, and that's where he gives control to Brokey to take over outside on his own. But right now, it seems like Brokey's the one going to secret, and they're going to the A bomb site. Rain and Stico have traded. Oh,
Brokey, up close, in the vents, does no-scope Stico out as he was beginning his rotation back. Committed himself a little bit towards lower, and Kirby has to create more space here for FaZe. Martin doesn't go to clear. Kirby fast on the flank through door, and he's going to line them up. Oh dear, pulls the trigger a little early.
Zen.
Fortunate for them, Zen does answer back. It's a trade, but not a conventional one. Madden, 1 versus 3. The bomb dropped at the vent, but the smoke gives him a bit more room.
Zen's too fast on his trigger, and he takes down his teammate because of it. Martin now has to find his first duel, and that gives him a lot more time, but with 50 seconds on the clock, he's played this perfectly. He's isolated them completely. The bomb will go down. It's not planted in the most ideal of positions, but it's the only position he could have gone for. Now he has to win out these duels. 1 by 1, they will not peek. Instead, Martin sees the jumping player trying to tap him away as well, looking for a wallbang in the meanwhile. Martin's found the first, and now Brokey alone. 1v1, and he can't get it. Martin, what a round from him, and he heaves back a sigh of relief. 7-2 for Godsent, a round almost lost.
It comes oh so close. That smoke, just as it's in towards Mini, it's enough information denied that Madden can work these picks slowly, and they just don't scale. They spot him out, they want to take the fights, and Madden delivers. 7 for Godsent, and that's looking like it could be so much more on this T side. FaZe have not found answers here on CT. Crystal, a 1v1 outside. You know he likes to try and sneak his way down towards Secret by himself, so that could have gone the other way. An early advantage could have been found. Instead, it's just damage exchange.
Well, that exchange seems to be coming out consistently. Kirby will come through, finds the perfect timing for 2, even backs off to safety. They can't chase. Martin's very low HP. Kirby almost gets that one as well, but Martin and Zen still save the day. But the day is not over, and coldzera will say lights out for Crystal. Still looking for more, expecting them to push into him, and he backs off to safety. A 2 versus 3. Zen and Martin are the players you want to have. coldzera, though, can't say anything different about him, as he's so good with the deagle. Finds yet one more. Puts Martin in another impossible situation. How many of these have we seen Martin clutch out? And there's only so many you can have. The deal with the devil. 1v3 potential will always dwindle. And as he moves past, he doesn't have time, he doesn't have space, and Nico's just got the shot. Beautiful stuff from Kirby. Finds that timing perfectly. He's expecting them to turn around after the spray's done, and they think he's just going to get one and back off. No, 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 no. Kirby's hungry. Kirby is hungry.
And I have to say, I mean, Sure, Godsent, they concede the pistol round, but I think it's about damn time teams start taking second or these limited buy rounds against Godsent. A little bit of a taste of their own medicine. They do really get away with it far too often. Godsent still, of course, having money to reinvest in. Oh, Stico. Fight towards door. Actually won. Typically, he does get punished for those spams, but him spamming right back. Rain receiving the punishment instead.
The flashbang over. Nico's hoping to find a peek, but he's revealed his position by dropping down. The audio cues have been heard, and Brokey, well, the smoke's to be dissipating soon. Brokey's about to get himself a firing range, but it turns out these are moving targets, and they've run away from him. The question is, can he reposition in time? Kirby's buying some of it, but Martin's found the trade. By the time Brokey comes over, he'll already be Molotoved off, and he'll have to back off. Cold Zero is now the man to take point.
Slowing things down, waiting for the rotation for Nico to come up closer. I don't think FaZe are really thinking about this, just given their positions. Yeah, the lack of movement as well. They're allowing Godsent an 8th.
Wow.
And you can understand it from the economic point of view, but surely conceding 8 rounds when you start on the CT side, that is a bitter pill to swallow.
And I'm just wondering what the mindset on FaZe has got to be like, because now the interesting thing about this round is Nico goes for a secret peek. Whenever Nico goes for a secret peek, that frees up more room on outside for Brokey to try and use the op more effectively. We don't see that. Brokey takes the same tired old angle. He doesn't change it up. Now, how much would it have made a difference? That's the question, but I'm asking a different question. What's their mental like right now? This has got to be stressing them out. And they've bought full head armor when they're... Oh man, I hate the full head armor, even though there are a lot of, wallbang options in Nuke, but even so, this will be really interesting to see how this transpires.
Nico again, entrusted to outside. He does have a player lining himself up. That will be Cold, moving through towards Secret. It is getting Molotoved out. Smoke deployed as well. I should know that Cold is here. The flash lineup, again, they go for that set playing Cold. Oh, down to 9 HP. Utility damage aplenty there for Godsent. They're forcing him all the way deep back into the site, so Zen can take position.
They've completely given up ramp control as well, so Stico, when he starts to go over there to be the second prong, this will be troublesome. Brokey's realized it now. As he peeks back in, he likes this angle, but it turns out Stico's got other things in mind. Zen is the one to find the first kill. Cold Zera goes down next to the vents and their decontamination. And with this, the bomb can be planted if they want to, but the bomb's still on outside. Rotations will be forced, but Farlig is caught off Kirby and his lying body. And Rain, by the time he turns, will be falling to Martin. So a 4 versus 2, and again, you're wondering if we see a save. Nico does catch one on the fadeaway, but this trajectory seems to be CT spawn in one way or another for Nico. Brokey left alone, 1 versus 3, will connect with 1, and he seems to know that he has to go for this at this stage. Does have a kit as well at the very least. Some utility is his friend, but now he's revealed his position, and Farlig on top of the hut will make quick work of him. This is monstrous from Godsent. This is so well played. They are out-maneuvering FaZe, they are out-playing FaZe, they are out-aiming FaZe. Not a single player on FaZe on double digits.
Yeah, and you talk about the mental and just what the confidence levels are like for FaZe. You're not seeing players taking initiative. Sure, we saw Kjerby peeking into lobby with a CZ, but that's on a low buy. It's the rifle rounds that they're really struggling to convert on the CT side. And you're seeing them turtle up a little bit. And Nico's taking some risks in these duels outside, but he's not been all too successful. And so then who do you call on?
Also, they're always the same risk. It's always the risk of, hey, do I just push up the red container and maybe move past? There's nothing very different coming through more often than not from FaZe Clan. And again, I'm just worried because FaZe is a really good Nuke team at times on their CT side in particular, because very primarily spurred on by Brokey's ability to be able to be mobile, but it seems like he's not able to do that. But now Martin, I can't praise him enough. He's been the one to continually bail them out of tricky situations, even in that previous round. Rain being traded away to Martin, that was what made a difference. Kirby now, maybe he can find another miracle round with that CZ of his.
First fight there, but Zen on the entry. Sharpshooting, some damage done, but again, such a big man advantage here for Godsent. So much utility deployed as well to limit the options that are available. Of course, we know that they're doubling up. They're moving through towards lobby, and Martin in that hot seat does deliver on the first. Godsent looks like they've dialed home that double-digit scoreline on the T side. FaZe haven't mustered a successful defense in quite some time.
This is also so reminiscent of what we just saw on NIP versus Sprout, where I believe Sprout had a 10-5 half initially, and well, this might be even better. And you know, speaking of Sprout versus NIP, it turns out NIP has just killed one of their own teammates. So that's probably not a good sign for them, but it's just a map that started off on Inferno. Inferno also seems to be our destination, so the same map pool all across the board, apparently.
Well, the biggest problem for FaZe, I'm saying they haven't won rounds in some time. It has just been sporadic, right? They win one round, they lose several in a row, then they win another. Never being able to find consistency and chain them together. Brokey, this time, taking a deep angle towards red container with the AWP. Hasn't positioned himself here prior. There's so much utility being expended that direction. He's already down to 11 HP before he's found the first phase.
Brokey. Oh no, he's already mollied off again. He's going to be brought down. There's nothing to do. They're just completely punishing him for the first attempt at aggression that he's actually gone for. The poor soul. But Nico has done the same to Farleg, whose AWP will no longer ring true in this round. Kirby, in the meanwhile, comes through to try and recover what Brokey lost, but Rain might be about to lose some heads as well. Zen finds one. Nico is traded, though. Rain's going on, but Crystal somehow wins that duel. Not what you expect to see whatsoever. And at least Coldzera and Kirby left in a 2v3.
They've got some pathways to work with. Seiko's been slowly working through lobby. He cleared a bit more space towards ramp as well. Now moving towards A. Cold. Oh, catches the shoulder. That's the bomb dropped, and he's going for a second as well. He catches them completely off guard, and Godsent have to rely on Stiko to keep this one rolling on the T side. 30 seconds to navigate around these two players, and there's the backstab from Kirby. That's exactly what you want to see from players like Cold in crucial moments, and finally FaZe get another.
After Rain drops the ball on that second phase, he's still able to bail them out. Coldzera and Kirby combined their forces to take it away. That first kill from Cold, that is what does it, but the second one is just beautiful. Now, 4-10, they do still have an AWP on Brokey, fortunately for them, so at least their buy will not be crippled going into the last round of the first half, but Rain, they are, well, Nico just went down early on. That is unfortunate. Farleg on the outside is just able to peek forward right past red container with a nice flashbang to help him out. And now Stiko is hoping and waiting for the push to come through. And Kirby and Coldzera are not caught off despite good damage. Cold still finds the kill. And Rain, who's pushed through into lobby, will try and find a better position. And he's not on the ladder. Rain still gets a kill, somehow able to get it done. Still a 3v3, Cold very low. The T side. Have to be careful though. The A bomb site is populated by Brokey. And although he's not had the most explosive of performances, sitting on just 44 ADR, you know, he can change that around in a heartbeat. Crystal moving through. Cold on the other side, holding an off angle. 48 seconds. Are they going to clear this? They have to, and Crystal doesn't clear it. Cold has taken it home. 4 kills to seal the deal, and Godsent aren't in the green just yet. We'll be back with the second half in just a bit. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. 5 rounds may prove to be insufficient, but the fashion they have done it in will give them courage, it will give them strength, and it will give them hope going into the second half. But the man who gives me hope, though, that I'll one day understand this game is the man who's educating me and all of you together. Michael Yumi Cassidy on the microphone, still with me. I don't really know why he sticks around.
Yeah, I don't know how much education I'm really be doing. I'm certainly not qualified. You know, I just like talking about Counter-Strike and enjoying what's in front of us. There's quite a lot to be had. Like you said, the momentum can certainly shift now that FaZe get the rounds back with Cold stepping up to the plate as well. Fast played towards Trap as Tico delivers. What a shot to start. And he can fall back. That's just enough space.
And Farlig, in the meanwhile, is so worried, but Stiko should be the one who's sweating. Martin will help him out just a bit, but he can't find the first few shots, and Stiko has to back off because of it, but he's so good! Stiko's fighting! Stiko's getting it! Cool Zero, though, comes out on top regardless, and now Nico has to duel out from behind. Cool Zero still with the Molotov, not much HP to work with. Will plant the bomb, has to come through. Clutch has to be one with a few Glock headshots, but they're so far away that even those won't get the kill. Cole is waiting, but he's waiting for death. Farlig to finish him off, and Stiko comes through big.
Yeah, that man could have been rushed down. The first shot is good. They were tagging him up as he was trying to fall off, but they take these longer pathways after the initial entry doesn't go their way. The spacing wasn't quite there for Rain because look how separated he is by the jump. The timing on the secondary player, just enough room for Stiko to work off of, and these quick flicks. It's a shaky and a chaotic situation to be in, but he still hits the shots he has to.
FaZe Clan not even going for
a hero, eh?
the buy. Yeah. I'm okay with this. I actually quite like this. Like, just the fact that he's not the hero. I don't know what I think about the 4 Deagles alongside it, but hey, let's see what he can get done. Okay, Stiko. Okay, Stiko. Okay, Stiko. Okay. Okay. I get it, Stiko. You know how to play the game. Even picks up an AK for his trouble. Says, a hero AK. Well, I heard I'm a bit of a hero, aren't I? And indeed he is. Farlig tagged down to 85. But I don't know if he cares about that one too much. One boost will be there. Farlig can't quite get the shot. And with that, they have information that Rain is down in the secret tunnels. Farlig, however, in the meanwhile, more than anything else, is hoping that Zen doesn't go down, because now he has to take care of 2 players, maybe even 3, if they start to come towards him, and he's good for it. Finds it first, reloads while Stiko is still hunting, and Martin will do the same. Forces back Rain so that Rain can't find too much ground into the lower bomb site.
Yeah, all the meanwhile, Stiko is re-aggressing outside. He's found a slot between these 2 players. Farlig will eliminate Nico, and all those shots being rung off by Rain. Sure, he gets a parting gift, but Stiko sweeps him up. A 12th round there for Godsent. I can't believe he found that much success when Cold had bought the AK, just because, you know, you expect a little bit more impact, but that was ultimately just an AK delivery system for Stiko. He was happy to recover that one.
Look, man, times have been rough, okay? Sometimes you gotta take up a delivery job. It's Uber AK. But Zen is waiting for them to come through on the outside area. Now, they do still have a pretty decent buy. Cole's there has been done rough by, but that's what you get when you don't get a kill. Sorry, Cole. That's just how the way the Counter-Strike world works.
Really slow round.
And Godsent's used a lot of their utility early on as well.
A variation in the wall of smoke. Something we saw Godsent throw as well themselves, but they tried to get into secret. Nico's hoping to catch a player out in garage, and he gets the drop on Zen. Did lose a teammate while he was going for that play, but it's at least something that they can work off of. A bit more pressure applied outside. It's drawn Farlig's attention.
Nico, oh no, he's finally been broken. And it is broken to do a double Molotov over. Not ideal, but hey, who's counting? 2v4. And Martin and Farlig don't have much money, so I wouldn't hate a save here, especially if Martin can move over and grab the AK that was lost, but seems like he will do so. Backs off, does reveal himself in the process of dropping the weapon, and as a result of that, Brokey will just come out on top, takes him down, and now, pretty weak buy to come through from Godsent, though if memory is anything to go by, they tend to win those.
Yeah, I'm not ready to start counting the chickens before they hatch.
It's true. It's true. Especially because there are no chickens in Nuke. It's just one of those maps which is kind of sad. A bit lifeless without the featherless friends, but it's also lifeless because Farlig might be about to have... Oh, what? Really?
No, they just give it up. Okay. Losing
What?
too much HP. Didn't fancy the fight.
How? How is that? Okay. I guess we do have some chickens on the map after all.
Yeah, they'll be smaller eggs, but the potential for the chick to be bigger than the egg.
Okay, I was just
Normally
calling
sized
FaZe
like a
chickens,
TARDIS.
but okay, man.
Yeah, the insides of an egg are bigger than the outside would make it appear.
Indeed.
Straight out of Doctor Who.
Indeed, but Nico, he's not quite an alien out of Doctor Who, but he's got the deadliness of a weeping angel. You close your eyes and he's right in front of you, ready to take you down. Stico, now, waiting for them to come through. They might not expect the angle, and indeed they don't, but Stico reveals his position prematurely. He's just having a distraction, and the distraction is not going to be good enough. Zen has also been forced back. I don't know what that's all about, but Nico has now intercepted the man Z himself. Nico will be traded, yes, and it's a 3v4. Doable, but a lot of questions asked, and Crystal's not answering any of them.
Yeah, Godsent really losing track of where the players were for FaZe. Thought the information should have been there, that Nico had made his way down towards Secret because Farlig had gone for such a committed position. Still, he was able to get that backstab on ramp. And now just choosing to save. I mean, that has to be the call. A 4-on-2 where you don't have too much space, no kits available either. Not exactly the most healthy of prospects. FaZe just take fights, and it's a risky initial cross for Nico, but one that, because of all the utility that's thrown and the path that Farlig chooses to try and get above the smokes, all he gets is the steps. And even then, I'm still not sure if that was communicated across. Maybe the comms were cluttered for Godsent.
Farlig will be able to find the shadow, and with that, keeps himself alive and healthy. Turns out, apparently, the one thing that FaZe don't want to do is go and hunt Farlig, and as I say, that... Kirby. Okay, got a bit scared there, and if you are a fan of Nip, then you can stop being scared, because as it turns out, they just got a 3-man spray down mid.
What a transfer from Rez.
Indeed. And let's not forget, they were down 4-1 at one point, so being up 6-4 would be a nice place to be.
Well, highlights on the B stream, but we've got highlights here on the A one as well. Nico, again, looks underfooting it out towards long, and he's using the advantage. This time, Martin is close, and he tries to punish. Tries to track him based off of the echo location, but he doesn't hit the shot.
Martin and Farlig, the only ones with the AK-47s and armor with it, so you can't even have like a teammate come through, pick it up after you've gone and died. So Kirby, he should be able to find this USP kill, no worries whatsoever. Zen's not expecting the lurker behind. The best case scenario for Godsent is just that they save 2 more weapons at this point. There's really no point in fighting this out over here. If Crystal can find a Zeus kill, that's always nice, but I really don't like this phase forward from Martin. He's just maybe going a bit too far. Farlig does find at least 1 kill, but now because of Martin's position, he can't get away with the AK. I really disagree with that decision, like strongly.
Yeah, not expecting Brokey to get aggressive. I could understand that. And the pistol was, I guess, there to help protect, but it's very high risk. Typically put the rifles together, make sure that they can secure each other's exit. They should be able to get away with 1 at the very least. And the money for Godsent looks a little prettier for the follow-up round. We want to get Farlig on the AWP. That's where I think we can start to answer more questions about how well FaZe will do once he gets that in his hands, because you talked about the efficacy of Brokey on the AWP on CT side. He doesn't even have to wield an AWP. Nuke is not really the territory for it. He can still get aggressive, but his rifling has been on point. But we expect him to do better on the T side with the ult than on CT, weirdly enough, because of how much freedom he gets. And Farlig is exactly that type of ulter that is the polar opposite, where he just excels on the defensive end.
Yeah, he has that one of how actually. Hold that thought. What's going on here? Martin, are you looking to get aggressive? No, apparently not. Farlig, though, will be brought down. Rain just seems to be expecting that angle. And more we've seen...
Sorry, that's the second time we've seen Farlig jump up there. And this time they actually spot him.
And that's also a place where he did reveal it earlier as well. He didn't get that kill. Now, more and more we've seen that players are actually choosing not to play on top of the marshmallow, but now you can see it's still an incredibly effective angle if you have 2 or 3 players playing forwardly postured towards red container and you have to take care of an AWPer. Here and now, though, it's all about the 4v5. Crystal, who's grabbed very far forward, could find a big kill, and he doesn't flick in time. Neither can Modern. The AK is too strong, and Godsent are seemingly put into a saving position again. How many rounds in a row are we going to see this team being forced to save? And so far, it's just been early advantages going away to FaZe, even if Godsent gets info.
Yeah, this won't be the way they wanted to start out the round, though. Farley getting picked out before his AWP gets anything accomplished. That's really not the set of game, like the game plan, really, for Godsent. And I'm surprised he goes and commits to such a undefensible angle. Like, you can't really retreat from that spot either. In such a crucial moment where Godsent are on the back foot, in spite of them having the lead on the scoreboard. FaZe have been building that momentum. They might not even be able to secure these rifles into the follow-up round. The flash is good on Zen, and they're tickling down Stiko. You can see because their money is prettier, they're willing to throw bodies at the problem. And Stiko, he just has to run. He has to try and get out of there, and Cold cuts him off. So Godsent bring nothing forward into the following round.
And this is where Godsent just gets put into an awkward position where they always go for a force buy when they have a player who can actually buy up. I hope that this is not the call from them. I hope it's a bit more conservative, and it seems like it will be the case. But even so, allowing FaZe the 10th round for free in itself poses a different set of problems, and that problem is spawned from the fact that you found yourself a 10-5 half. You were dominating. All the momentum was yours. Stiko was having his rounds, Modern was having his rounds, and right now, no one's having their rounds. Modern waits around the corner, and the flashbang will be tagging him up. And an important thing to actually keep note of is that if you look over the statistics on Nuke for the Godsent team, Stiko and Zen are always the top fraggers, generally, more often than not. They have an average of a 121 before the DreamHack Open tournament started on this map, and Zen so far, I have to say, has been a bit more quiet for me in both the games rather.
Yeah. Where's old reliable? Well, the reliability is there for FaZe. Rain, some sharp kills against the pistols of Godsent. Stiko, sharp man himself, but Rain is just making short work of his opposition. Eventually, Mane does deal with him. Okay, Stiko answers back. Hold the phone. They flipped this all around. It's Kirby in a clutch and a crossfire angle. He held Mad and takes the last frag. How was that spun out of control so rapidly? What has Stiko just done?
It's all Stiko and Modern again. Like I said, Stiko's the one who's always consistent. Modern's the nice X factor to have delivered. And Modern's been so strong in so many of these situations where he is just the follow-up. He is just the finisher. Stiko's had clutches, Stiko's had deagle kills, and he's just doing it all. He's basically keeping Godsent in the game, and now he's put them in a position where you have so much more economy than you had any right to have. Zen, though, needs to be careful. He's going to be caught out, and he can't reposition, but he still gets the kill. Will be traded away, yes, but it's so big that it can get rained down initially. Cold Zera now no longer with that secondary man behind him, no longer with the backup, but Nico's found a kill through the smoke by spraying through Squeaky.
Man down Stiko, already looking to backstab out Mini. Crystal, how long can you stay alive for before Stiko can get this one done? He had to wait out the smoke. He does get the drop on Cold, so they've equalized the affair. Farlig activating the AWP as well, and FaZe are looking to bypass those last two players. Down towards the B site they'll go.
Well, Stiko might already be here by the time Kirby can take this angle, so it'll be a very tricky affair for him. Stiko is expecting this, and he's got the shot beautifully done, even spraying at the perfect angle, although he does end up getting out worse for wear. Nico still in a 1v2. Steeko keeps himself alive, switches out with Farley for the AWP. And now that Nico's planning for a safer angle, they'll have to start going in once the bomb's gone down. Nico, though, you know he's good for this. You know he's good for the first. Can he get more? Yes, he can. The one tap as well to secure the deal. BM all you want, Nico. You've earned it.
Oh, what a sharp shot at the end to secure the round. Exactly what you want from Nico himself. Pulled into a crucial moment. We had Cold closing out the CT side half. Nico may be the one to bring them closer on the T side. I mean, that is crispy stuff from Nico. And once again, Godsent are on a bit of a weird buy. A rifle, an AWP, and Deagles around it. Crystal the one exception, of course.
I don't know, maybe they can rustle something together, but more often than not, these hints of desperation end up being hints of a round loss to come through. And you have to wonder, what are they going to do? Martin's expecting the position from Rain. He doesn't quite catch out the scalp. And now that Rain's thrown over that grenade, Martin definitely knows, and he can't hit the shot. It's so difficult with just the head showing and so much space to reposition. And he can't get it done. Crystal, in the meanwhile, hoping he can pull off a Kirby. Hoping he can come through with a few kills with the CZ, but it will be so difficult, especially if he wants to go over and boost someone to rafters, which seems to be the call. Martin on the AWP wants to reposition back to heaven. Farley with the Deagle is going to be the main one to keep an eye out for, as he's poking some eyes out before being traded. Crystal sees he at the ready, pushing forward. Brokey might have spotted him out, but now Brokey's he's so confused. He's so indecisive. What does he do? Does he go into the CZ? Does he wait for it? And it seems like he's gone for the correct option. 4v3, FaZe on the advantage, heading down to the lower bomb site.
Moving over towards Decon. Steeko takes the angle, the back of the site. They don't clear him. Steeko gets one, almost a second as well. It's good damage on Nico, but not enough in the time. It's of the essence. FaZe, they don't have enough time to get that bomb planted, so Godsent win by default, as it was Brokey in the clutch. And Steeko did just enough. They catch them on the cross. They cannot get the site secured. Godsent with 14.
Steeko, brute force is not what he is known for, but he's been pumping iron and going to town on the Deagle DMs. That one quick headshot that he finds, that is their undoing there and then. Martin's given so much more space to come around with the AWP and work his magic. That's beautiful stuff. And I thought the second Crystal dies, I thought that was all. I thought that was over. But FaZe Clan, this is where you start to see they're a lot like Shaquille O'Neal that way. They've got the force, they've got the athleticism, they've got all the skill, but sometimes it's the free throws that they're missing, and that can be the difference maker in a game.
Nobody's quite made a movie. Something about a genie. Let's forget that one. FaZe, seeing if they can rebound into the round. Martin's found two. Where has he got those kills? He aggresses through towards lobby, and this has really thrown a spanner in the works here for FaZe. Now Nico outside has to operate alone. There's no real supportive elements outside of potential for Rain in towards Mini. He's just holding an angle. They're waiting and waiting it out. Zen might sandwich himself between them. Oh, there's the meat, but the bread fights back. The problem being that there's so many more players there for Godsent on the site, and Kirby has to be the one. He has the HP, and he spotted one out.
And now he has to go on for more. The bread has got mold, and it is deadly. Kirby comes through, takes down Crystal, but there's only 30 seconds left. Tick-tock, 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 and Nico doesn't know what to do. He's hoping that Godsent present themselves to him in pursuit of information, but that information is not what they want. Martin will find Nico instead. Kirby left alone, 1 versus 3, playing inside the smoke. 15 seconds on the clock. He's moved through for the first, trying to spray for more, but Martin's run away from him. 10 seconds. Kirby goes for the bomb plant, perfectly positioned, will be able to get it. It's a 1v1 for him initially, but he can't get the headshot now. 2 players to deal with, and Martin comes in from the side, comes in with a right hand uppercut, takes him out, and takes Godsent to 15. 4 kills for the man himself. What a round.
It's a shutdown performance. Mid-round aggression here from Madden that they were totally unprepared for. They boost him up, and he knocks them down a peg. I thought this half was shaping up to be the FaZe comeback. They were really bringing a lot of force forward that Godsent couldn't contest with. But you see plays from Stiko, from Madden. Crucial shots from Farlig as well. He's been a little bit quiet, but he's hit them where he's needed to. And look at the pace from Nico. He wants to get this round over and done with. There's a quick entry, but no follow-up. Crystal, they're on support, and Madden's been dealt with as well. So they have a minor man advantage now that moving into the site. They get their hands onto some rifles as well. But Stiko on the fast flank.
Stiko. He knows. That needs to be careful of the player behind the second vent. And as they peek out, Stiko can't win the duel. Farlig left alone in a 1 versus 3. And as Farlig backs off, that gives me time to explain exactly how Stiko has been playing. And you know what? I've got the perfect analogy for it, Michael. Mousesports is at this tournament as well, right? You know, Mousesports just got eliminated, unfortunately. Stiko's like the guy who's gone to a party after a couple of years and he knows his ex is going to be there and he's really buffed up, he's really cleaned up, and now, you know, he's a stud. Comes into the same party, the ex, you know, who ditched him for someone else, just gone away already, been kicked out, and he's just there, he's saying, I will persevere and I will make sure that I come through. And that's exactly what he's doing so far. Modern's on 25 kills, yes, but I don't think anyone would argue that the impact brought from Stiko is unrivaled in this game.
That has to be the most cliche comeback story analogy I've ever heard, but it is apt for Stiko, that is for sure. Godsent, they're so close. The buy is not good. Farlig, that AWP is all that's brought into the round. I have some flashes that can help enable these pistols. I like the initiative here from Farlig. He lines up the first Brokey there. But Farlig, a double. That could just be enough. Nico outside. Farlig's taking the round in his own hands. A fourth. He's going. There it is. Farlig going. That's the aggression we want to see from him. It's missing all too often for Godsent, and Farlig delivers when there is nothing else for them to operate around.
And now Nico. He's put his hands together and he is praying. He is begging. He does not want to let this go to 3. And God only knows he's capable of it. But can this be his ultimate moment? Can this be Nico's pinnacle? He's checking the angles. He's putting his hands together. A man can only pray so much. And Farlig with the ace clutch to close it out. And AWP was all they had. And AWP was all they had. And repeat after repeat after repeat. And he just couldn't miss. Farlig on Nuke, a little bit quiet. He starts, but he ends the loudest of all. What a round from him.
Yeah, we saw the cams afterward. They didn't seem all too impressed. I mean, they win the round. Farlig with the ace clutch, you know, it didn't see any sort of, yeah, let's go. It was, oh God, now we've got to get to the third map because it's all full focus. It has to be the third map because that's where we'll go.
And I mean, if that's where we're headed, if this is how we're headed there, I want more of it. But I know the analysts would like to get a quick word in, and I know I need to go watch that round again. So we're going to go to a short break, and when we're back, it'll be the analysis desk.